which means you have to have a good pipe that's constantly building.
I'd like to think, just working on our side, he started to realize.
Did you ever find my seat? Did you steal?
Hello and welcome, everybody. Hello. Good evening. The only problem with the evening is there's only 2 hours, and I don't get enough time to say hello to everybody in the room. But welcome to old friends, welcome to new friends, welcome to the AI dinner, the May edition. Tonight we have an absolute treat in store for you tonight because it's a set of lightning talks put on by yourselves. We actually get to hear ourselves talk this month. So it's about us. It's about what we're working on. It's about what we're doing. It's about the impact that we're driving and the way that we are bringing AI into our business. So I'm going to not take long to get us started. I'm going to give you a quick overview of our agenda tonight. If I can figure out how to make my PowerPoint work here. Tonight we have 2 basic topics. We're going to have Big Tom give us a quick overview, thank you, Duncan, of the neural network call, which was a great deep dive into MCP. And then we have our showcase. We've got a series, we've got about 6 or 7 lightning talks, demonstrations. We're going to do a lot of context switching. I've got a lot of slides. I probably have maybe 200 slides to get us through the next 2 hours. So those of you that are speaking, let's keep the pace on. I've got a quick agenda I'm going to set here for us. So we've got Sam, Mike, and Angus talking. I got to distinguish between the 2 Jameses. So I got James Pye and James Pooh. Just because I was being lazy, I couldn't fit all the screens on here. But that was about as far as I could get into to be completely unique with your last names. I thought it was just going to be a James P, but it wasn't unique enough. So James Pick and James Puddicombe, of course, we know that. We also have Jeremy is going to share with us a bit about Nudge. Duncan's going to share with us some of his experiences about taking AI for helping the sales process. James Puddicombe is going to be a data analyst. That's going to talk about AI. Honor is going to help you not only help you figure out how to run your sales team, but actually how to do SEO with it. And if there's time, I have a demo to show as well. But I don't know if we're ever going to get to it. So that's the kind of the running agenda for tonight. Here's kind of where we're at. The neural network, this is a repeat of what we have. We'll have a little bit of a table break in the middle here. So I'm going to try to keep us to time. I'll be watching this. If I'm looking at my phone and not paying attention to you while you're speaking, it's because I'm looking at the timings, trying to keep us on time. We will have a bit of a table break where we'll have a chance to meet the people at your table that you haven't spoken to yet. And then we'll get into our 2 topics. So, hi, everyone. My name's Eric. It's great to meet you. It's great to see you. The best night of the month. Isn't this the best night of the month? I mean, Thomas, you said you weren't going to make it today, and out of the blue, here he comes. I'm not going to miss this, because this is AI dinner. This is what it's all about. This is when we get together, and we share what we're working on, we share what we're doing, we share our learnings, and we're going in a really interesting pace here. We're moving from, let's talk about what the impact of this is, to let's actually talk about what the impact was. It's there. Grab a screenshot, grab a ticket. On Monday, the 23rd of June is the AI Beach Party. This is going. It's the AI Beach Party in June in London at the London Beach. So there is a beach in London on the south side of the Thames, just next to the big I is the beach. It'll be a bit more on the AI social side. We'll have soapboxes, we'll have artists, we'll have people that are building and expressing themselves through AI. Of course, the Tuesday night of that week is dinner, so we'll see you all back here that very Tuesday night. And then on the Thursday and Friday, I'm working with a good friend of Thomas of mine's, Dinesh Guarda, to put on the Business ABC Global AI Summit. Not only will we have AI speakers and AI avatars speaking, but we'll have people from around the world. We'll have politicians, we'll have House of Lords represented, we'll have universities represented, we'll have industry represented, and we'll be going through the impact of AI to business, to financial services, to the arts, and to yourself. So this is going to be a great 2-day event in Kensington. Please come join us. Here's a QR code for that. If you want to grab that, that's where I get tickets for those. And so it's gonna be a jam-packed week. And so that's me, Tom. What we're gonna do tonight, speakers, when you come up, we'll just come and grab a microphone so that our friends from home can hear us stream. But if I will share these QR codes in the chat later if you didn't get them. And I'll start the whole deck with us. Oh, there's me up there too. I can see a picture of me along with all these other great celebrities and avatars. I'm gonna pass this to you, and then you can speak into it. Like
normally what people pass me.
Yeah, you can hold it with more than just 2 fingers.
Well, is the sound working?
Is the sound working? Yes.
Like
Oh,
a speaker?
I
Like a speaker in the room?
I don't. We'll try it. We'll see. Want me to try for you? I hope fingers.
No,
crossed.
because it'll ruin it. No, it won't ruin it, because I'm the only person who can ruin it. Hi, what am I doing? Oh, there I am. Okay, good.
There you are.
Have you got, can I just click on?
Yeah.
Great. We do every month, as you know, we do a call, the neural network call, and this time it was about this. Is it playing? There. It was all about acting the bridge between large language models and external systems. So effectively, I've got an LLM over here, and I've got a bunch of tools over here. The LLM can talk to them and ask it to do things. So send emails, pick up things from databases, just use tools and interact with different types of interfaces. It provides context for the LLM, giving it understanding of what can be done with an underlying, I've deleted the last bit of that off, idea. And the idea is that it's talking to them in English. LLM, large language models, another great use of 3 letters, which we'll come to in a minute. The need for MCP is directly linked to the rise of LLMs that communicate using language. Why we don't use language in order to communicate what MCP is, I don't know. But that brought me on to my life in tech, which goes back to 1990 early. And as you know, I am 70% creative and 30% tech. So I've written a little ode to tech and to the use of 3 little 3-letter words that hopefully could be the end from now on. Hopefully this will work. If I press play. First I was afraid, I was petrified. I kept thinking I could never tell what ROM and RAM implied. Then I spent so many nights decoding all these terms and I found out the web addresses, well, they're just URLs. And I'm back from 98 with my dial-up modem, ... Please wait. This page won't shake because you're in Netscape, but as I tried to make it roll again, it said, please use your LAN. Go on now, go. Don't crash on me. I even know what it means now to work in IT. You tried to put me off with XML and CSS files. Did you think I crumbled? No, because I've got no FA. Not me. I survive. There's no need for all those 3-letter words. I've got GPT now at my side. We speak English now, not random letters capitalized. I will survive. AI survive. Wait, it's not finished yet. 3 verses. 3 verses all written by me. I've got some. What do I write here? TCP, UDP, ICMP, ARP, NAT. What the fuck? I took all my strength I had not to uninstall every CPU and GPU and WTF-FU. I spent so many nights feeling just API'd I used to cry. But now I hold my head up high. Because like CTAs don't rest, they still keep in 3-letter words like SQL, XML and AMS. I once feared ML and GRMs, but now RAN, CNN, AN, SVN, whatever that is, I write my own prompts on the fly. NLP gets what I mean, because AI gets me now. It's trains on words, not 4 letters in a row. Naming conventions become logical. No more DOCISS or DSSSSL. No, now it's finally the time for tech to stop talking in rhyme. Go on now, go! Talk English from now on. Fuck BASIC and C# and even Y3Y, Python. Do you think I'd miss the part in CI/CD? Well, guess what, techies? 3-letter codes are history. Oh no, not I. Oh no, not I. I survive. I just fine-tuned my life when I bought it Howard. I taught it how to fly from DOS to deep neural dreams. Now I surf in quantum streams. I will survive. I'll survive. So there's SAS and RAS, HTTP and WALN, and the days of these technical terms, they're on an end. No more shortened acronyms, no more ways of talking tongues. I have GPT, it's all I need, and it's English from now on. And then you fucking gave me MCP. That's what I do.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel very comfortable with my decisions now. Tom, that was brilliant. Thank you. Well, it's all uphill from here, isn't it, guys? I mean, how do you follow that? Back to the business of our next we have our first topic, our first lightning round of the evening. I've got 2 microphones and 3 speakers, so I'm going to let you guys juggle about how that's going to work.
Okay.
Built by humans, powered by agents. Your decks are all right here, so just drive through and
Get started, yeah.
get started. Yeah, there you are. You're up and running. I'll leave it to you to. Oops. So here we go. We have Sam and Mike and Angus. The only Raybone is not Angus. Something about an Angus T-bone. There's 2 of those, so you have to share them between your speakers. I'll let you drive. The floor is yours.
Follow that. That's really unfair, I think.
Yeah.
Follow that.
Quite unfair.
So we're covering the journey, the platform, and the future. The future action would really like and appreciate is if you could join the community at Engine.digital and help us follow our journey. Where this started was I purchased Flow Foundry and Flow Studio and was trying to work on it with Angus. We had a meeting in December where me with my 80,000 hours of trying to make marketing, find out what works in marketing and what doesn't. Angus with his development background were brainstorming in a Regis office in Birmingham. It was quite funny in some respects because we were there in this office and someone knocked on the door saying, well, we've got to move you out. And I said, well, why? It turns out that Regis, the landlord of Regis, had given Regis a week's notice to move out. So they were literally moving all the furniture out of the building because they were only given a week's notice. And Angus and I were like the last men standing. It was like, literally as we left out of the meeting, the table and chairs followed with us. So we took it as a sign, really. It's sort of out with the old and in with the new. Part of that new was Sam, who's brought a completely different perspective in terms of our ideas of agents to make marketing work, agents in terms of maybe building our own businesses, and building a framework of agents so that anyone can access and begin to use it, because we've discovered owning the data is everything, controlling the data is everything, and that gives us a really powerful platform, we think, in order to take on the bigger players. So over to Sam and Angus.
You've got to sing it.
Yeah, what's your karaoke
You don't
song?
want that, Duncan. You definitely don't want that.
In Scottish.
I can put on a more Scottish accent if you want.
Oh, that's really good, Angus.
So, I think the starting point, I think most people in this room know the Flow Foundry and Flow Studio story, because it started a couple of years ago, and I've presented Flow Studio to quite a few people in this room, and did an offer at the time, and there was some feedback from that, and some people picked it up, but there was no takers. It was like, we built this system that allows you to utilize AI right across the board, but people just weren't that interested. So I've taken this to banks, I've taken it to other businesses and sat down with them, and they're like, it looks great. So what does it do? And the answer to that is like, does anything you want. And it wasn't until the end of last year I twigged, that's too big. People are not interested in it does anything you want. People want something really specific. They want it to do a job. And so the discussion that I had with Mike in the Regis office while they were carrying all the furniture out was really starting to form how that came together, that we could build something using the Flow Studio platform that would be different. It would be the end product, not the actual means of doing it. So Flow Studio is the thing that sits underneath it, but it doesn't really matter. because what matters is what we're building in Flow Studio and how we're packaging that up.
And then on the AIM side, I mean, Mike's better positioned to speak about this than me, but it's a digital marketing agency, traditional digital marketing agency that's been going on for 25 years now. And we're sort of seeing a moment, I suppose, where we've got decent teams, a big team working on various different processes, and then AI comes into play and offers the prospect of potentially kind of shaking things up. AIM's adopted a very much an AI-driven approach for digital marketing, but the conversations between Mike and Angus meant that ultimately we could start looking at agents and how we can test them on clients built specifically for the agents and the use cases that we have as a digital marketing agency. Which took us to here, where basically the conversations developed where essentially what AIM needed was for the team at AIM to be able to operate an input and an output. We don't need them to necessarily kind of know or understand how the bit in between functions, but by utilising Angus's knowledge and Mike's knowledge for the past however many years in marketing, could create some really powerful agents, in theory, where the team can operate and just drive an input for a client and receive an output.
Well, and also your knowledge, Sam. I mean, you've had quite a big input to this stuff as well. So we've got like 3 quite strong pillars to what it is that we're doing. And the thing that we've learnt along the process is that the AI is only as good as the knowledge that's feeding into it. And that's what Engine has really done, is brought together quite a serious amount of knowledge, and we're able to codify this.
And that's kind of where Engine stemmed from, was that combined input from the 3 of us, where in essence Engine allows us to wrap any workflow, deploy it as a product, and share it securely in its simplest form.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
And the first set of products that we're looking at is a marketing team. So we've modelled the marketing team with a lot of input from Mike on what the ideal of that marketing team would look like. Codified that into Flow Studio as a bunch of components, and then built a system around it that allows us to leverage all of that. So the journey getting there was pretty rocky. So the techies in the room might recognise this. So this is, this was our starting point where we discovered Lovable. I think it was after an AI dinner. Someone said, "Have you tried Lovable?" So we went and tried Lovable. And Sam had an amazing experience with Lovable. He built the first version of Engine using Lovable, and then what happened?
It all went wrong. So that QR code at the bottom is a video which Angus must have sent me about 4 or 5 times. Take a photo of it, watch it later. It's Father Ted tinkering away at his car. I'll leave the rest to it.
Yeah, and that's the like. For years, I've worked with development teams and coached developers and kind of been through all of this. That there's certain dead ends that you go down when you're developing something. And Lovable will go down that dead end, but it can't back off. It's got no reverse. So it just keeps going bad, and it gets bad and bad and worse and worse and worse. And you can waste an awful lot of time on this. For really simple stuff, I'm sure it's great. But for what we were trying to do, it was horrible. Plus, when we took the code and we took it apart and we started to look at it, it was doing some really horrible security things. Like all of the usernames and passwords were being passed to the browser in clear text. This is a hacker's dream. So all of this stuff being produced is not safe at all. But it's easy. And for me, I was looking at this thinking, this is like the skunkworks stuff that I've spent most of my senior IT management career trying to get rid of. And now this is just going to run loose across businesses. That actually this is quite scary. But at the same time, still really interesting that you can go from nothing to something working is impressive, but it's not for the big time.
yeah, for prototyping, it was incredible just to kind of allow us to start visualizing and exploring it. But I've since seen LinkedIn posts about people with development knowledge running a Python script against all of the Lovable.dev community platforms, all the products that people have built on Lovable.dev. That if you go on the homepage and scroll down, they're all there. He's claiming that he's run a Python script against all of them and managed to gather bank details, addresses, tons of personal information, login details to all of these platforms, because it's people essentially vibe coding their way through products and not actually understanding the code or what they're asking these platforms to do, and they're just giving away tons of information. And yeah,
And vibe coding is not a thing. I don't think that's something I would encourage anybody to do. It's like vibe flying an aircraft. You know, it's something that you wouldn't you wouldn't attempt. That it does take some knowledge and experience to put together a computer system. The vibe coding is, I would say, it's interesting, but it's dangerous. It's not production ready to be able to work on this. And the subsequent, I think we learnt a lot from this experience. And the subsequent work I've done, I wouldn't call vibe coding. I'm using AIs to develop everything now, but it's so much more than what this does.
So we expanded from that learning and essentially have pretty much started to build what is ultimately a pretty bespoke framework. It's not NAN.
You built Pac-Man.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This is essentially a workflow for one of the agents that, with Angus's expertise, we've essentially built off the back of a framework.
Yeah, and so we're building agent framework. So this is a supervisor and worker framework, which is carrying out content management check-in. So we're connecting to outside data sources like SERP API, SEMrush, various other sources. We're pulling that data in, and we're using that data to feed into different workers that then process that data in different ways. That all gets brought back together again into the output. So we can ask an agent to say, take a financial report and then check against all the marketing activities going on to see if that lines up to what strategically the business is trying to achieve. And this will pull all that out and then provide an actionable report at the end. So we have a whole team of these, which we've put together. So content creator, market share forecast is really interesting. I think we had one which was doing the financial controller job. I mean, this is the first time I've really got excited about working with AI, is putting these things together, because you can actually see the inputs and the outputs giving real proper information. Plus, we're not stuck to any particular LLM, so we're able to use whatever LLMs out there, whatever services out there, bring whatever data comes back. So when Google release something, we can very quickly flip over to use the Google services. There's a lot going on with Anthropic and Claude AI, so we are totally agnostic to the services that we use. So we can change this very quickly to tune it to services that make sense for the tasks that are being done. It doesn't take long with the knowledge and experience that we've got around it to put these together, so we can put agents together in a morning. And then with the engine platform, we're able to then commercialize them very quickly.
And can you sell that as a service?
Yeah, so I think is that the next slide?
Not quite. We actually haven't got one selling the
We've got a
service.
few slides to
But-
go. Then
but
we'll
we
get
can.
to that one. We'll tell you how we're doing that.
So this is kind of a quick. We haven't got too much time, but this is a quick kind of future outlook where kind of what is the next phase that we're about to walk into. So when the web was released for sort of the general public in 1993, very quickly SEO and PPC agencies formed in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s. And then I'd say November 22, when OpenAI released publicly, that was a massive moment for mass adoption of AI. And we're now talking about AI agents and kind of how long is it going to be where we actually have AI agencies formed and whole industries created off the back of AI agent agencies, in the same way that we have PPC agencies and SEO agencies.
Yeah, I was in a meeting the other day, and one of the people in the meeting said, "Oh, how does this kind of interact with LinkedIn? We need to kind of honour what's going on with LinkedIn." And I'm sat there thinking, LinkedIn's probably got 18 months and then it's finished. Like the way things are going at the moment, the internet is just going to be totally transformed, and we're just at the edge of that. I think the wave of this happening hasn't even started. We're building this stuff now, but when it starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger, it's going to transform the internet. The internet's going to disappear in its current form. It's going to become something else entirely. And the people that are setting up into these AI agencies are going to dominate. We're pretty convinced of that.
Yeah. So we've kind of wrapped up the marketing in the box with the previous slide in terms of the content creation, etc. But we're looking at it in the long term as there's a lot more that we can do in this. We can create a recruit in a box and highlight those individual processes. What are those kind of template structures that every recruiter goes through, and how can we implement that into an agent? Same with law, and then potentially even a long way down the line, CRMs.
Yeah, so this is the new SaaS. When people are talking about the new SaaS, this is what they mean. That we can put together a function that is part of a SaaS, and we can package it up and sell it at an individual level, and we can do that very quickly. And the Engine platform allows us to grab any kind of agent that we've got and then wrap that up in a commercial wrapper, and we can do that fast. So if you've got an idea in the morning, you could be selling it by the afternoon. That's the Engine platform allows you to do that.
And how do you price this?
But it's I think I keep coming back to Dan Priestley's presentation on that, and I think that is how I think about this, is that if you're providing £4,000 or £5,000 worth of value in something you're doing, selling it for £1,000 is easy. So I think when we look at marketing in a box, that's a whole marketing team. How much is that worth to you? How much would you pay for a whole marketing team? I mean, that's.
Well, you still need the staff, or they're all laid off.
You need far fewer. You need far fewer staff, or you can use that to augment the staff that you've got to be much more productive.
They change their rate.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of where it's going, where we've kind of. What do?
Can I have a technical question before you go?
Yeah, go for it.
What are you using to manage all your workers and all these processes going to get?
Yeah, so the Flow Foundry, Flow Studio platform drives that at the moment. So a lot of people talk about NEN, for instance.
Yeah.
So the problem with NEN is that you can't commercialize that. NEN is part of their license, is you can't sell that to a third party. So Flow Studio is no, because it's nobody's heard of Flow Studio unless you've been here. So Flow Studio is the platform that Flow Foundry built. So we're using that to drive this.
One very quick point before Eric interjects is that Neil Patel today sent an email, a scare everybody email out about how everything's changing in terms of SEO and PPC and recent Google Live. We sort of don't care because we can churn an agent out in half a day based on whatever it is, and the supervisor will identify what's working and what isn't. So yeah, it's a fascinating time.
Can you give us the 1 minute hallucination answer?
The 1 minute hallucination answer. Oh, that's a tough one. I'm not very good at hallucinating. I can ask ChatGPT though.
But, I mean, people are typically struggling with hallucination and trying to break the tasks down to small enough chunks to avoid it. Is how you're solving that problem?
Well, the hallucination, I've not seen hallucinations in this because it's all driven by data. So the LLMs are actually producing computer-style output. So we're producing JSON output and moving that from one place to the next. And the prompts themselves, so we're running the prompts through ChatGPT, Grok, and various other things. So we're using the LLMs to improve the prompts, and specifically saying just needs to be factual answers. And that is pretty solid. So we're seeing no hallucinations through that system. In fact, I think hallucinations is something you can get rid of entirely if you form the correct prompts. I think prompts is a large part of that.
The last thing I'll say.
Yeah.
Scan the QR code, join the community. Thomas is in there, Eric's in there. We're building pretty transparently, so if you've got any more questions, then you can drop us a message in there.
Brilliant. We definitely need more than 15 minutes for you guys, because this is the future of a. No, I said 15, but you can come back next month and take a full 45, which is great. We want to see the full product. But the couple of really interesting things here. So Anjin, if I'm not mistaken, means pilot in Japanese, correct? And the reason why I know that is because in the 1980s there was this little show on TV called Shogun, right? And the main character was Anjin-san. And my father, who loved Shogun and was a boater, was a sailor, named his autopilot in his boat Anjin-san, and that's what we called it in the boat. And so we talked about not being able to put things on autopilot, yet we're calling it Anjin-san. So it was just a little personal reflection for me.
We thought about co-engine, but
co-engine, co-pilot. Okay, we're going to move along. I'm going to move to our next speaker, James Pick. James Pick actually is up next with a live demo of his platform. I think, you know, as we transition to James, and you're going to drive here and take over the slides, or drive. Yeah, here. Let me just hop out of here, and we'll get you into. One of the questions that I get a lot these days is not so much, Bob, about the hallucinations these systems have. As we start to go into SMB and get into smaller businesses, the question I get over and over again is data security. How do we make sure that my data is not going into AI? And I think we need a good answer about that, because people just don't understand. They've now got this fear in their mind that anything I put into an AI is going to go into the model, they're going to lose their IP. So how do we think about that from a product perspective? James, to you, and you have a good 15 minutes or so.
Hello, everyone. So this is a live demo from the moment I click on now. So anything can happen, of course, but it will be slick. This is a product that I'm going to say was, I've worked with ERPs and CRMs and Salesforce and lots of products over the years, and I've got a CRM solution myself as well. But I wanted this to be the last ever UX I ever design and build. And because I think things are evolving, I think the symbiosis of AI with content is getting tighter and tighter, and we need to find something that allows them to exist where we can be talking on a chatbot, and we can be setting up users by a conversation, but at the same time we've still got our content readily available. So this is the solution. The system is then a single unified environment. It's very modular, so as we'll see in a moment, is we can pick things up and evolve it as we go. It brings together content that you have authored yourself with AI that can either talk about that content or take users on predefined journeys. So if you're a coach and you've had a conversation about difficult conversations, or how do you manage problems, the AI then can help fill the gap between the next session. If you're a large organization that has a myriad of ERPs and other things underneath, but you want a nice user experience on top, this environment then will form that layer of the AI, content, and then underneath underneath. So one of the challenges when we were talking about, everybody's got their AIs, everybody creates prompts, but where do you use them? Some people in GPT, some in Gemini, but actually I wanted the environment where you could bring all of your prompts together. And it didn't matter whether it was GPT behind the scenes, or Claude, or Gemini. We're bringing your prompts into a single environment which you can then provide to your customers, your team, or otherwise in a secure, safe, audited environment. The bots themselves have been enabled. So we talk about MCP, and we talk about how bots can then talk to other systems. But these bots themselves have also been enabled. They've been enabled on the content that you've got access to, that you put in. They've been enabled on APIs that you have approved to your teams. So if you want people to have APIs to various different things, the bots will have access to it. And that's a really important thing, again, because you've got one single set of bots in a content world. and you've decided what they're going to be able to do. And we're going to see how that works in a few minutes. This whole thing that we're doing now is this environment. So what you're seeing here is just a representation, a presentation of the information. For me, user journeys are really important. All my career, I've looked at how you optimize and simplify the way work gets processed through your organization. And you had a great slide on that, the black box in the middle, but it's work coming in, work getting allocated, work managed, and then an output coming through. And I don't see AI journeys as any different. If you can define your AI experience so that you guide your user through what you want to achieve, collecting the data as it goes through, you've done what I think the AI of the future is going to be. And so if you're a tech support person who's got access to a bot, you're going to want to be able to create new users, or you want to be able to interrogate new users, and those bots will give them that user experience. And you define them in your platform, and then you make them available to either your team or your customers. What real-world applications? Education. Education is a big one for me. So I'm doing some work with Portsmouth University on this one at the moment. For